each person that has taken that responsibility of leadership, first with themselves and then others, I believe that they all have something in common, right? And I would call it maybe more of a mandate, right? The key. And I think that there's really three of them. And I think that if you look at anything that's in motion that is leading, the first thing that every leader has to do, that we all have to start with ourselves, is you have to be honest with yourself. You have to be true, right? You have to know the truth. The truth is undefeated. And that starts with you. And what that simply means is just be honest with yourself. It's okay. You are where you are for a reason, right? But don't placate yourself. Don't play yourself. Look in the mirror and just be honest with yourself, because you have to have a starting point. We all are at a starting point right now today for the rest of our lives. And the only way we can get to where we want to go is we have to know where we're starting. For some of us, we want to camouflage that, right? We want to make believe that we're not in the place that we are, or we want to make it worse than it is. However, every person, whether it's conscious or an unconscious behavior that is led, they've made an impact. They've taken responsibility for themselves. They've been willing to be honest with themselves and say, this is exactly where I am, right? But number two, and this, by the way, I heard a mentor of mine shared this information with me. And ever since then, I've challenged it, I've tested it, and it's the truth. It is the guardrails. Every leader has the ability at any given time just to be honest of where they're at, right? And to reinforce that. So, number one, give yourself permission to be truthful with yourself, to be honest. But number two is leaders, and a mandate of leadership is you can't see it worse than it is, right? And so many people, they're willing to say, be honest with themselves, but then when the going gets tough, or weight sets in, or they're having to overcome obstacles, or they get met with resistance. Let me tell you something. If you're going out to be better, if you're going out to challenge the status quo, if you're going on a mission, this isn't about dabbling. It's not about a career. It's not about a job. You're on a mission. The very definition of a mission is people try to stop you when you're on a mission. You can expect conflict. If you're doing something great in life, you can expect conflict. If you're wanting to go out and get the fruit out on the limb, people are going to say you're crazy, you're nuts. You know you're on the right track, right? However, when that happens and conflict happens, I've seen this happen over and over and over and over again with incredible talented people, right? Because sometimes we let our egos get in the way. Same mentor told me you can either feed your ego or you feed your pocketbook, but very seldom can you ever feed both. And what does that mean? See, a mandate that every leader has is they don't see something worse than it is. And why is that? See, the reason instinctively that if we see something or make something worse than it is, it gives us the ability to let ourselves off the hook. We just compound the weight on to where what we do is we handicap ourselves to give ourselves the ability to tap out. We give ourselves an excuse to let it go. Oh my God, everyone's doing this. And then when you really dive in with some of the tools that we're going to learn, is everyone doing it? Or is two people doing it and you gave it emotional energy, made it worse than it is, you globalized it to let yourself off the hook, right? So remember that a mandate that every leader has is they're willing to see themselves where they're at. They're willing to be honest with themselves. The truth is undefeated, right? Because there's all these qualities that go into leadership, right? About action and desire and all of these things that you're going to learn, belief. However, you have to be honest. Like, what is it that you really believe or don't believe? What is it that you're willing to stand for or not stand for? You, not someone else. Be honest with yourself. But number two, don't make something worse than it is. Because if you make something worse than it is, it gives you the ability to tap out, to stop, to quit. See, no one likes to use that word quit anymore. If you ask someone, will you quit? They'll never say they quit. They'll blame, shame, and justify. They made something worse than it is to give themselves a reason to escape, to have the velocity of escaping to go do something else. But they weren't willing to look in the mirror and take on the responsibility themselves and step up their game, right? Great leaders overcome adversity and they become 10 times more dynamic leaders because they're willing to not see something worse than it is. And they're willing to have a compelling vision of how they want to make it, right? That's another mandate of leadership. Without vision, every leader can see good or opportunity in every situation. Every leader can see light. Every leader has a compelling vision of where they want to go. That's part of leading, right? Leaders, what's more important, the first leader or the first follower? Because if you're leading yourself and then leading others, you have to be in action. You have to be moving, not achieving, but moving, right? And where are you going? For a lot of people, they don't even know where they're going. I'm going to challenge you all today. Have a compelling vision for your future. Have a compelling vision for others, right? Big visions move people to action. Big visions move countries, right? Small visions do not serve the world, and it doesn't allow you to tap into more of your potential. So have a compelling vision. And then lastly, a mandate of every great leader is they're willing to go to seed. I had a mentor of mine years ago, back in 2000, he looked at me and he said, Brian, when's the last time you went to seed on anything? And I was like, I don't even know what that means. What do you mean? He said, when's the last time you went to seed? And it's actually a biblical analogy, right? A metaphor. And the simpler version is just giving it everything you have, like giving it every ounce of energy that you have. Don't leave anything on the playing field. Right? Don't placate yourself and act like you're doing everything that you can when you're really not. Don't make it worse than it is. Oh, I got all this stuff. We all are going through a fight. Every leader has gone through a fight. However, you have to be willing to go to seed to make your vision come true without seeing it worse than it is and always being honest with yourself. Going to seed is about going to seed, bringing, and what it means is whatever it takes. You're burning the ships until something comes to harvest. And when it comes to harvest, going to seed means it then replicates and other seeds fall. And then they're planted and they grow. So you actually replicate and duplicate yourself. That's what going to seed is. And so that is the foundation of every great leader in action, right? Leadership's foundation is responsibility. And my question to each and every one of you, are you willing to take the responsibility for yourselves and what you want in the life you want to create? Not blaming anyone else, not relying on anyone else, but stepping up because you have that talent in you. You have that ability in you. Each and every one of us, we're possessed with these gifts that other people can relate to, but we have to be willing to go to seed. Regardless of life circumstances, don't see it worse than it is. Those circumstances that life has served you, it served you for a reason. Embrace that reason. So to me, that's what leadership is about, right? And then being able to model other people that we see that are leading at a high level. And to me, the greatest leaders are the ones that are most vulnerable, the ones that are willing to make mistakes, the ones that have the most certainty in creating that compelling future. And when those mistakes hit, they're willing to be adaptable. They're willing to be flexible. They're willing to learn as they're growing, right?